What if the greatest crime in your world was simply touching the ground? On the strange planet Narava, nobody lives on solid land. Cities ride on the backs of giant sky creatures that drift above an endless ocean of clouds. Generations have grown up with a single rule carved into their stories, their laws, and their fears. Never go below the cloud line. Most people don't question it. They're born in the sky. They work in the sky. And when they die, their bodies are given back to the clouds without ever knowing what lies beneath. But today, high on a rope bridge between two floating cities, someone finds a handful of real, heavy dust that should only exist on forbidden ground. And the dust did not fall from the sky. Morning light spills across the back of the sky whale as it glides through thin, cold air. Wooden walkways and light stone towers rise from its mossy hide, tied down with ropes that hum softly in the wind. Above, the sky is pale and open. Below, a thick blanket of clouds hides everything the people in Narava are not allowed to see. For Kale, the sky whale's slow breathing under his feet is as familiar as his own heartbeat. He walks the outer path, checking the anchor posts and listening for the small changes that only a sky guide in training learns to notice. The creature is calm today. Its vast body rides the air with easy strength. Each exhale a low, distant rumble that vibrates through the boards. The law about the ground sits in the back of his mind like a shape in the fog. It is always there in every story. Children are told that the ground below is poisonous, that it twists the bones of anyone who touches it. Older students hear a sharper version. That long ago, people lived below the clouds and something forced them up into the sky. Nobody agrees what that something was. Nobody asks too loudly. On the far edge of the sky whale, a rope bridge stretches toward a neighboring city creature, swaying gently between them. Kale crosses it every day. Today, though, something interrupts the pattern. Halfway across, he notices a faint change, the sound beneath his boots. The usual dry, hollow thud is different, duller, as if the wood is coated with something. He looks down. Near the center of the bridge, dust is gathered in a small, uneven patch. Not the fine, pale powder that flakes from old rope and wood, but darker, heavier grains that sit stubbornly between the fibers. When the wind gusts, everything else on the bridge trembles or lifts. This dust does not move. Kale crouches and presses his fingers lightly into it. The grains cling to his skin, leaving smudges. They have weight. They feel like stories he has never lived. On Narava, there are only 3 known kinds of dust. The soft skin shed of the sky whales, the powder of worked stone, and the ash of burnt offerings. This is none of them. He rubs his fingers together, and an old lesson rises in his memory. Descriptions from Elin, the archivist, of ground dust recorded in forbidden histories. Heavy, coarse, refusing to float. Kale wipes his hand on his tunic, but a faint stain remains. He straightens and scans a bridge. No broken crate. No fallen cargo. No sign that someone dropped something from above. The ropes are clean. The boards are worn but intact. Only the dust looks new. By mid-morning, the fine has reached the council. On Narava, law flows in 2 directions, from the old carved tablets in the archive, and from the moods of the sky whales themselves. Today, both feel uneasy. The council gathers in their open platform at the center of the city, anchored deep into the creature's back. Word spreads quickly. Foreign dust on the bridge between sky whales. People avoid looking down at the clouds. The old stories sharpen in their minds. No one mentions a punishment written for anyone who descends with intent. Erasure from records, name removed from carvings, body offered directly to the cloud sea. The council sends inspectors to the bridge. They scrape the dust into a sealed glass vial, as if afraid it might leap back onto them. The vial disappears into a leather case, bound for the archive in its quiet, watching shelves. Ropes are checked, boards replaced, charms retied. The official word that flows back through the streets is simple and thin, anomalous residue, understudy. No cause for alarm, but the sky whale disagrees. By afternoon, its breathing grows shallow and tight, each exhale shorter than the last. The rhythm of its great wings becomes slightly uneven. People feel it in their legs before they understand it in their thoughts. Cups tremble on tables. Loose tools slide slowly toward the outer rails and have to be caught. Other sky whales nearby keep a wider distance, their riders watching from far platforms with narrowed eyes. In the archive, under rows of carved stone plates, Elin compares the fresh dust to an old, forbidden sample locked in a deep drawer. The similarity is impossible to deny. The weight, the color, the way it refuses to cling to glass the way ash does, all match the substance recorded generations ago as ground soil. According to those old fragments, the last time such dust appeared on a sky whale, an entire city vanished into the clouds within a day. The official story that survived says it was a storm. The forbidden notes say the sky whale dove on its own. Evening comes, and the cloud sea below turns from white to a bruised gray. The tops of the clouds swell and sink slowly, like something breathing under a blanket. The wind thins. Rope bridges hang in a rare stillness. Kale finds himself back at the same bridge where he discovered the dust, drawn there by a mix of fear and curiosity. Laia, who listens to the sky whale's body more closely than anyone, stands near the anchor post with one hand pressed against the living surface. She does not speak. She doesn't need to. The tension in her shoulders says enough. Below them, the clouds are closer than they should be. The city's creature has been drifting lower all day. Not dramatically. Not enough to make people panic openly, but enough that the outer towers now sit in air that feels wetter and heavier. The law against touching the ground suddenly feels less like a distant legend and more like a wall they are slowly sliding down. Elin arrives carrying a small wrapped bundle. Inside is a sliver of carved stone from the oldest layer of the archive, etched with words almost worn away. The fragment mentions dust appearing on ropes, a sky whale growing restless, and a final warning. When the ground reaches the sky, do not answer. The fragment does not explain how the ground could reach up. As night thickens, thin streaks of a different color appear in the clouds directly beneath the bridge, a faint, darker weave inside the white. It moves against the wind, rising and curling like a slow, searching hand. The council orders people away from the outer paths. Lanterns are dimmed, ropes are tightened. Officially, it is a passing atmospheric disturbance. Unofficially, everyone feels the same cold thought. The ground is not passive. It has not forgotten them. Kale looks at his hand, where a faint stain from the dust still sits deep in the lines of his skin. Somewhere inside the sky whale, muscles he has never seen bunch and strain, as if the creature is fighting something pulling from below. On Narava, touching the ground is illegal because no one is meant to survive doing it. But as the clouds swell upward toward the bridge, reaching almost to the lowest rope, another possibility forms. A thought no law ever wrote down. Maybe the ground is not something you fall to. Maybe when it chooses, it comes for you. The front steps lift before anyone screams. 6 jointed legs unfold from the house's mossy belly and taste the wind over the lintel. 3 recall stones glow in a restless rhythm. Miss one touch, then another, then one more, and a home decides it is unloved. Sura slides under the threshold and presses her palm to the plate. Cold, it wants proof of a shared moment, not a name. Ropes twitch, baskets rattle. The house leans toward the rim path where momentum takes anything that chooses it. Rule on Narava. Forget your house and it walks away. Sura hears a beat inside the wood she did not play. A taut cadence that pushes homes to leave. Someone has been teaching settled houses to forget. The 3rd stone brightens as if inhaling. Sura opens her ribs, ready to loan her own home name. Dawn comes thin and blue over the carrier's back. Houses perch across moss terraces and with lattice like careful birds. Every doorway keeps 3 quiet moments. Morning, midday, dusk. Touch the home plate with a fresh memory at those times, and the stones rest dark. Miss all 3, and the legs remember they were made to move. Sura works the outer ring, where wind speaks first. She is a recaller. Her work is simple to name and slow to master. She can weave memory into rope and rail, so a plate tastes it fast. She can read footfall, the way weight shifts just before a thing decides to go. Her ledger promises a calm day. Wind is kind. Markets are steady. Families will touch their doors and share small moments. That is the plan. Late morning breaks the plan. A house at Hollow Bend shows a faint amber hush above the lintel. The Yen family's place. Shell-bright tiles. A smoke vent that turns away from laundry lines because someone taught it manners. Sura presses 2 fingers to the threshold. The plate gives only the dust of yesterday's chores. No shared breakfast. No joke at the basin. The first recall has been missed. She ties a quick weave on the handrail. Steam and spice from the Yen kitchen, a chalky sweetness from children's fingers. The braid will coax the plate to notice the next touch. Noon should be enough. Noon is not enough. Festival practice runs long, and busy feet pass their own door without stopping. The second recall slips by. The house tests its weight the way a bird tests a thin branch. Sura walks the rooms. Boards are clean. Cups are stacked. A fine dust lies where small hands usually smudge the sill. Houses relax when first are refreshed. First stew. First storm endured. First need bandage on the kitchen bench. Without that, something old in the ribs tastes migration again. Across the ring, 2 more doorways glow the same uneasy amber. Sura sets her ear to the Yen floor beam. Most weight lines point inward towards safety and center. Today, 3 lean outward toward the rim path. That is not hunger. That is calling. On a corner post, she finds strips of windcloth with an unfamiliar dye. The pattern hums an old caravan cadence. The tune uses guide unkept homes. so they travel together. New cloth, old song, a suggestion woven into air, gentle and firm enough to make a busy family forget to touch the plate. The rule shifts in her mind. It is not only forget your house, and it walks away. It is also this. Someone can teach forgetting at the right moments, and a house will believe it is time to leave. The third recall approaches with a slow courage of dusk. Neighbors gather by habit, carrying baskets and small instruments. Everyone knows a home about to walk needs chorus. The yen's first song was a lopsided lullaby after a bowl crashed and refused to be perfectly round ever again. Sura taps that beat on the rail with her nails. The floor eases a breath. Stones brighten. Legs unlock with a click, felt in the knees more than heard in the air. One step toward the rim path, and the rest will follow. Sura holds 2 lawful paths in her hands. She can spend the family's latched memory from a braid and nail the home with its origin that stops a walk and leaves a seamless story that never heals right. Or she can loan her own home name, a thin thread every settled person carries from the first room that sheltered them. Offer it, and for a little while, you become the house's keeper. The price is simple and sharp. Your own place feels you gone and may wake anxious until you return. She chooses the loan. Palms on the plate, breath steady. She opens a part of herself trained for this work. Her home name goes out like warm air through a crack. The change is quiet and sure. The house pauses. Legs lower the width of a finger. The glow above the lintel softens to something less certain. This buys minutes, not hours, and ties a leash around Sura's chest. If she holds too long, her own wedge will wake and ask for her. She leads a staying ritual. Neighbors clap the lopsided lullaby. A child chalks a circle that refuses to be perfect. Someone shakes spice into the air so the rail can taste it. The plate licks the beat and the scent and remembers enough to rest a little. The glow fades to a pale breath. The family comes running with festival dust in their hair, an apology in their shoulders. Words are not needed, for hands press the plate. They give now. Hot skin, spent breath, relief that shakes and then steadies. The house answers with first stew, first rain, first broken bowl. Legs tuck, stones go dark. Sura lets her home name snap back into her ribs like a tide finding its bay. The cost is small and honest. She sways and then settles. Her wedge will be awake when she returns and will want a touch of something true. Bread too dark, scrape back to good, will do. When the street quiets, she logs a day with clean lines. Suggestion cloth found and removed. Outward lean confirmed in 3 places. Home name loan used. Origin preserved. She tags a cloth for the council and asks for a make it be found. Out at the rim, 2 small homes bend their knees and then change their minds. The ring exhales. She walks home slow, so the moss can speak to her feet. Footfall teaches. Today the herd moves a new rhythm. Light, even, unhurried, as if led by a careful hand. Someone is tuning the city from outside its skin. At her own door she pays the price she owes. Palm to plate. A simple moment. Bread browned a little too far. Laughter. The scrape that saves it. The stones stay dark. The room warms like a cup around cold fingers. At first light, signal frames on distant carriers blink a pattern that is not quite warning and not quite greeting. A trial, then more cloth will appear. More homes will lean outward on the same dusk. Someone is testing a citywide suggestion, teaching households to miss their own names at the wrong beats. Sura writes what she will do before it happens. Recall nets along the ring to hum first songs at noon and dusk. Chorus early when two doorways glow in one street. Anchor with first song whenever there is breath enough to try it. Never spin a latch unless a life hangs on the choice. Carry a safe loan of home name and a runner to warn her wedge when she is late. She leaves one short line for whoever thought a city could be taught to leave itself. If you teach our homes to forget, we will teach them to remember together. If this world held you, leave a small moment the way a palm leaves warmth on a plate. Say the first song your door would answer and the one you would keep. Stay for the next rule we bend and the next price we pay. The homes are listening.